In this video, we're going to look at 6 of Max Horkheimer's most famous works. If there is a social theorist who could be considered the father of critical theory, it would be him. So let's not dilly-dally any further and get into it. Number 6. Eclipse of Reason. Written in 1944 with co-author Theodore W. Adorno, this book is an exploration of the current state of reason, which the authors argue is in crisis. What do they mean by reason? Well, reason in the Western philosophical tradition has traditionally referred to instrumental reason, which is the sort of reason that is concerned with means to an end. This sort of rationalism started gaining prominence with the likes of Thomas Hobbes and has dominated Western thought ever since. The central argument of the book is that instrumental reason has brought about its own demise. The way that the authors understand it, instrumental reason is what has led to the rise of modern society. However, now that we have reached the pinnacle of technological advancement and the highest standard of living ever before seen in human history, reason itself is what is standing in the way of our progress to a more enlightened and free society. The dialectic of enlightenment is therefore the idea that progress through instrumental reason will ultimately lead to its own demise because of the very nature of this type of reason. It only seeks to further progress and betterment of humanity through technological advancement and material growth, which both the authors saw as inherently negative things. They saw technological progress as a thing that only causes more problems for humanity, and material growth or economic growth as something that is completely divorced from the quality of life and general well-being of individuals within society. Number 5. Between Philosophy and Social Science. Published in 1968, this book contains some of Horkheimer's most important essays and is a must-read if you want to understand his body of work. The collection includes his essay titled Theologico-Political Problems of Instrumental Reason, which was written in 1962 and is essentially a condensed version of the arguments made in Dialectic of Enlightenment. There are other significant essays in this collection, such as On the Concept of Duality, which explores Freud's theories on the Oedipus complex and fetishism, and The Norm and the Pathological, which examines the ways in which critique is used in different fields. The title of this collection, Between Philosophy and Social Science, encapsulates the project of the Frankfurt School in general, and Horkheimer's work in particular. The Frankfurt School sought to bridge the gap between abstract, philosophical thinking and the study of the social world, which was largely ignored by philosophers in the early to mid-20th century. In fact, one could argue that the Frankfurt School was a response to the perceived failures of traditional philosophy in dealing with the challenges of the modern age. Traditional philosophy was too abstract and removed from the contemporary world to deal with pressing issues like totalitarianism, fascism, and the like. At the same time, the emerging social sciences were failing to live up to their name by being anything but scientific. They failed to use the scientific method and instead were often informed by ideology and preconceived notions. The Frankfurt School, including Horkheimer, sought to show how philosophy and the social sciences can and should engage with each other. Number 4. Critical Theory, Selected Essays. Published in 1972, this book includes some of Horkheimer's most important work regarding the development and understanding of critical theory. One of the essays included in the book is Traditional and Critical Theory, which explains the fundamental tenets of critical theory and how they differ from traditional theory. Another notable piece is Some Characteristics of the New Enlightenment, which offers a critique of second-wave feminism and the student movements of the late 1960s. However, the most important essay in this collection is arguably Horkheimer's Theses on Learning and Teaching, which lays out some of the central tenets of the Frankfurt School's pedagogy. Unlike other schools of thought, The Frankfurt School was also deeply concerned with how knowledge is acquired and disseminated. This is where the term educate yourself comes from. As someone who taught at the Frankfurt Institute, Horkheimer had a lot to say about how learning should take place. In Theses on Learning and Teaching, he argues that learning should be a dialogue between the student and the teacher, and that rote memorization of facts should not be the main goal of education. Rather, students should be encouraged to think critically and challenge received ideas. This essay in particular, and others in this collection, offer an interesting insight into the philosophy and thought of the Frankfurt School as a whole. Number 3, Dawn and Decline. This 1947 work is a collection of essays that deal primarily with culture and society under late capitalism. The essays collected here date back to the early 1920s and throughout the 1930s. Some of the topics that are covered include the role of culture in capitalist societies, the future of jazz, and the work of Russian revolutionary Leon Trotsky. This book demonstrates the vast intellectual interests of Horkheimer, as well as the wide range of topics that the Frankfurt School were interested in. Although they are primarily known for their critiques of capitalism and their theories regarding culture under capitalism, their critiques extended to all areas of public life. The Frankfurt School weren't solely confined to the study of culture and society. They were interested in politics and economics just as much as anyone else, and these interests are demonstrated in works like Dawn and Decline. The importance of studying culture under capitalism is clear to the school because culture is where the reproduction of capitalism takes place. If the economy is the base from which all other aspects of society flow, then culture is what enables the base to continue functioning. Culture and societal norms under capitalism are what keep the working class accepting of their subordinate position. Number 2, Max Horkheimer and the Foundations of the Frankfurt School. This book explores the intellectual foundations of the Frankfurt School and its key concepts, drawing heavily from Horkheimer's early work. Assistant Professor of History John Abramite uses Horkheimer's early writings on culture and aesthetics to develop an account of the Frankfurt School's major concerns. He situates the Frankfurt School's key concepts, such as the culture industry and critical theory, within the historical context of early 20th century Germany. Abramite shows how the Frankfurt School developed a unique approach to social research by combining elements of Marxism, psychoanalysis, and the humanities. Key themes explored in this work include the relationship between theory and practice, the role of art in society, and the tension between Enlightenment rationality and the irrationality of modern life. This is a great starting point if you want to learn more about the Frankfurt School. The Frankfurt School isn't as well known as other schools of thought, such as the French or the Chicago School. However, their work has had a profound impact on social theory and continues to be highly relevant today. This book provides an excellent overview of the origins of the Frankfurt School and its key concepts, making it an essential read for anyone interested in social theory or the history of ideas. Number 1, Materialism and Metaphysics. Although not his most famous work, this 1927 dissertation is important to include because it offers an explanation as to how Horkheimer developed his mature philosophical views. In this work, Horkheimer rejects both idealism and traditional Marxism by arguing that the concept of matter is grounded in our experience of the world and cannot be explained in purely physical terms. This leads him to develop a theory of metaphysics based on the idea that the material world is constantly changing and that our understanding of it is always provisional. He rejects the idea that we can ever have a complete or final understanding of reality, arguing that our knowledge is always limited by our own perspectives and biases. Instead of seeking a complete understanding of reality, Horkheimer argues that we should focus on understanding the processes that shape our experience of the world and how those processes are shaped by our own social and historical contexts. He develops a theory of critique based on the idea that we can never be fully objective, but that we can always strive to be more self-aware and more reflective in our thinking. This dissertation is a crucial text for understanding Horkheimer's mature philosophical views, which are characterized by a deep commitment to social justice, a critical attitude towards Enlightenment rationality, and a nuanced understanding of the relationship between knowledge and power. It also serves as a reminder of the intellectual roots of the Frankfurt School and the ways in which their work has developed over time. So that wraps up our list of 6 of Max Horkheimer's most famous works. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this.